Good morning, scholars. My name is Miss Bordonaro. I am so lucky to be in your classroom today. It's time for us to start a new journey story. Buckle up, it's about to get exciting. Today, we will focus on the first four vocabulary words: the genre, subgenre, target skills, target strategies, and our first read aloud of the anchor text. Woo! It's time for us to learn some new vocabulary words. I will say the word once. Then I want you to whisper the word right after me. Then I will say the definition and you will repeat it after me in your best whisper voice. Are you ready? Here we go. Trial. A meeting in a court to decide if someone has broken the law. Jury. The group of people who make the decision in a trial. Stand. The place where a witness in a trial sits while being questioned. Guilty. Having done something wrong. You are going to love this story, and you're also going to learn a lot about our justice system and how court cases work. The genre of our story is fiction because it is a made-up story from the author's brain. More specifically, the genre, or subgenre, is fantasy. Now, fantasy is an imaginative story with characters or events that are not real. As you listen, look for story events or settings that could not happen in real life. You also want to listen for characters that act in an unrealistic way. We can see from the cover that we have some animal characters here, so there are going to be characters that talk and act like people. This is why the genre is fiction and the subgenre is fantasy. Let's take a look at our target skill. Our target skill this week is conclusions. As you read The Trial of Cardigan Jones, I want you to find ways to tie story details together to figure out what really happened. This is called drawing conclusions. A chart like this one will help us gather some details and then form a conclusion. Basically, we are going to become detectives this week, and we're going to get to the bottom of what really happened. We can do that by using story events from the story to help support what we think happened. We have a couple of strategies we'll be focusing on. The first one is to infer. When you infer something, you are figuring something out that the author is not coming out and telling you. Once again, we will be putting on our reading detective hats. Another way to say infer is called making an inference. When you make an inference, you're figuring something out that the author didn't come out and tell you. The second strategy is to predict. This means that you are going to decide ahead of time what you think may happen and check to see if you are right or not. Let's preview our topic quickly before we begin our story. The court system plays an important part in our cities and towns. Courtroom trials can have a lot of drama. Imagine that a defendant has been accused of breaking a law. The judge sits at the head of the court. Witnesses tell what they know about the crime. The jury, with as many as 12 people, listens to all the evidence. Then, the jury draws a conclusion. Is the defendant guilty or not guilty? In the trial of Cardigan Jones, you'll read about a trial involving a missing pie, a clumsy moose, and a wise judge. Let's read to find out whether Cardigan Jones is guilty or not. Cardigan walked by Mrs. Brown's house just as she was putting a fresh-baked apple pie in her window. Cardigan loved pies. He walked over and smelled the pie. A neighbor next door saw him, and a milkman driving by saw him too. Cardigan was new in town, and they weren't sure what he was up to. Now, I noticed already that Cardigan is a moose and Mrs. Brown is a pig. That should tell us something about the genre. Now, looking at this picture, it's kind of funny that the milkman is the cow and he's driving the milk truck. Something else that tells us about the genre and subgenre? So, Cardigan is smelling the lovely pie that Mrs. Brown just put out in her window. We know that Cardigan loves pie, so it's only natural that he walks over and smells the pie. However, he is new in town, and the neighbor and the milkman are looking at him as if it seems like he might be a little suspicious about what he's doing. Remember, Cardigan is new in town, and they don't know him. Let's keep reading and making observations. A moment later, Mrs. Brown came back to the window, and the pie was gone. She was so upset. She called the police. She told them that she'd seen a moose just a few minutes before. They drove around the block and stopped Cardigan. Noticing that he had pie crust on his shirt, they arrested him, even though he insisted he hadn't stolen the pie. A judge and a jury were chosen to decide if he stole the pie or not. The neighbor and the milkman were called as witnesses. Let's pause for a second. Now, don't shout it out, but I just want you to think in your own mind. Make a prediction just based on what has happened so far. What you know about Cardigan, and about the pie, and about what is happening here. Do you think Cardigan is guilty? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Do you think he stole the pie? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Great predictions, everyone. Let's keep going. Cardigan's trial started the next day. Mrs. Brown took the stand first. Is there anyone in this courtroom that you saw the day the pie disappeared? The judge asked her. Yes, she said. That moose over there. She pointed to Cardigan. There was a murmur from the crowd. He did it. He's guilty, someone said. We don't know that yet, said the judge. The rabbit then took the stand. Did you see anyone near the pie? The judge asked the rabbit. Sure did, said the rabbit. That moose right there. He stole it. No, I didn't, shouted Cardigan. I didn't steal it. I promise. Order, shouted the judge. Cardigan turned, and his antlers bumped a statue and sent it crashing to the floor. It made a really loud noise, and the jury gave Cardigan dirty looks. Next witness, shouted the judge. The milkman then took the stand. Who did you see at the time the pie was taken? The judge asked. The moose, he said. No question about it. He walked right up to the window. His face was practically touching the pie. By now, some folks were convinced that Cardigan took the pie, even though the judge kept saying, we still don't have any proof. Finally, Cardigan was called to the stand. As he crossed the courtroom, his antlers got all wrapped up in the flag. It took him over a minute to get untangled. He's a troublemaker, declared a gopher. Others nodded in agreement as the judge asked, Well, Moose, did you walk up to the pie? Well, yes, but just to smell it, said Cardigan softly. I knew it, shouted a goat. Lock him up. Order, commanded the judge. Order in the court. But I didn't take it, insisted Cardigan. Honest. He stood up and his antlers knocked the judge's gavel to the floor. Sit down, shouted the judge. But as Cardigan went to sit, he bumped the judge with his antlers. The judge fell to the ground. He hit the judge, shouted one of the security guards. They grabbed Cardigan and started taking him away. The jury members had made up their minds, but the judge stood up and said, Now just hold on a minute. I'm curious about something, he said. Follow me. Let's pause. Without shouting out, I want you to make a prediction. What do you think the judge wants to show them? If you're unsure, let's think. What has happened with Cardigan in the courtroom? There are a few things happening. First, his antlers pumped the statue and sent it to the floor. When he took the stand, his antlers got tangled in the flag. Then, when he was on the stand, his antlers knocked over the judge's gavel and the judge. Do you think Cardigan did those things on purpose? Give me a quiet thumbs up or a thumbs down and be ready to explain to your teacher why. Let's keep reading. He walked out of the courtroom, and everyone followed him through the town. They reached Mrs. Brown's house, and the judge walked around the outside to the window where the pie had been. Sure enough, there, smushed all over the bushes, was the apple pie. It didn't smell very good anymore. You knocked it off the window with those great giant antlers of yours, you silly moose, said the judge, laughing. It was an accident. Everyone immediately felt terrible for being so rotten to Cardigan, and the jury proclaimed him not guilty right then and there. Now I'm curious if any of you made that prediction based on what we knew about Cardigan and his antlers knocking things over. If you made that prediction correctly, give yourself a pat on the back. Nice job. We're almost done. To make it up to him, they had a party in his honor, and Mrs. Brown baked a pie especially for him, even after he broke her favorite vase. Really quick, I want you to think about this. Did the author ever come out and tell us Cardigan is an extremely clumsy moose who knocks a lot of things over? No, the author never came out and told us that, but we were able to figure out that Cardigan is a clumsy moose. That means we're able to make an inference about Cardigan. We were able to infer that Cardigan was a clumsy moose, even though the author never came out and told us that. Remember, infer means to make an inference. What is it about? The author didn't tell us, but we figured it out anyway. Well done, boys and girls. Let's see who can raise their hand and tell their teacher, how do you know the subgenre is fantasy? Well done! I can really tell you were paying attention while we were reading that story. Now it's time to play a game. In order to answer for this game, you will need your fingers. If you think the answer is number 1, I want you to put up a number 1. If you think the answer is number 2, put up a number 2. If you think the answer is number 3, go ahead and show your teacher a number 3. If you think the answer is number 4, put up a number 4. Please don't call out. Remember, if you think you know the answer, go ahead and put up your fingers to show the right answer. Okay, here we go, scholars. It's game time. A meeting in a court to decide if someone has broken the law. Is it 1, trial, 2, guilty, 3, stand, or 4, jury? Nice job, everybody! Well done! The place where a witness in a trial sits while being questioned. Is it 1, trial, 2, guilty, 3, stand, or 4, jury? Excellent work! It is stand. The group of people who make the decision in a trial. Is it 1, trial, 2, guilty, 3, stand, or 4, jury? Awesome! It is jury. Well done. Having done something wrong, is it 1, trial, 2, guilty, 3, stand, or 4, jury? Beautiful, everyone. That's right. What is today's target skill? Is it 1, story structure, or 2, drawing conclusions? Good! It is drawing conclusions. Nice job. What is the genre? Remember, it can only be one or the other. Is it fiction, 1, or nonfiction, 2? Think about the elements in the story we read. Good job! It is fiction. What is the subgenre? Is it fantasy, 1, or historical fiction, 2? Awesome! Kiss your brain. It is fantasy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud of you. Thank you again for letting me join you in your classroom. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Please do your best work in guided reading. You're doing amazing, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.